Hello, namaste, welcome back, beautiful souls. Top Tarot Miners, and today is all about the Two of Cups. Sorry, not two, four. This, I feel, is a much misunderstood card in that we have a tendency, beginner readers so what do I want to say? Beginner readers have a tendency to look at the Wade Smith illustration, formulate one or two keywords, and not really sit with the energy of what the foundation of this card actually is. So let's start with that first word, foundation. Namaste, welcome to Scott and Amelia. And that has to do with the number 4 itself. The number 4 is a number of building. It is the number of the emperor. It is the number of stability, security, safety, and foundations. So in all of the 4s, minor and major, we have this place of, it's a good place, the possibility of a good place. And granted, 4 walls can easily stifle as they can present security. And of course, all cards are going to do that. All cards have a shadow and all cards have a light side, regardless of whether they are up or down. And I want to really think about, what is the foundation of water? What is the basis of our consciousness or unconsciousness? What is water representing for you in this moment? And this is another reason why it's really important to have a long list of keywords for each element. And when I am, one of the principles of Tarot Foundations 1, which is a 22-week course available on my website, is that each of the elements, each of the suits, requires a deep personal contemplation so that you get really familiar with how the element moves through you. And you can see by scanning at all of these cards, we have some very different interpretations from what you see in the Wade Smith deck, where it feels, I don't know what I want to say. What I want to say is that don't, and I hate to say don't do this, because sometimes it might mean that, but when we default to easy keywords such as boredom or ennui, or I don't know, I think we need to go deeper. And they're in the suit of water. This is the most difficult suit in the tarot. It is full, our emotions are so difficult to understand and interpret. And so when cards come up in the suit of water, it's really important to go slowly, to take it one drop at a time, to wander in and just kind of listen to the water. One of the keywords for queens, who are all connected to the element of water, is listener. And I know that in some decks, instead of queen, the queens are called listeners, listeners of water, listener of fire. This receptive quality is enhanced when we are near water. And I know one of the pieces of advice in the Gaian Tarot is, when you receive this card, to get close to water, to receive its messages, to be in the sacredness of water. So what is the foundation of this element for you in this moment when this card comes up? All of the fours have a possibility of connecting to sacred space. And sacred space in terms of water, I feel, is very, very important. That can be a sacred moment when you turn on the tap for the first time in the morning and say, thank you for the water. Thank you for free-flowing water. Thank you for clean water. It could be on your daily walk, just bending down and placing your hands in a running stream and saying thank you to the water. I just feel that there is so much sacredness with all of these elements. And when the 4 card comes up, let's take a moment to get curious about that sacred space. So I want to talk about these cards individually and then try to weave them together and perhaps build in some of the more familiar keywords as well too. Over here on the far right, this is Emerging from Darkness by Robin Cole. And you can see this connection to sacred space. Here I mentioned this is the Gaian Tarot. And in both of these cards, a figure has come close to the water, to connect with water, to perhaps reconnect with water, reconnect with their listening, receptive side, to reestablish the foundation of water, to reestablish the foundation of connection to spirit. And I think this well, I believe this is a well in Glastonbury, and it's possible that this person is scrying. They are sitting quietly next to the well, looking at the water reflections in the well, and the lid, right, the cover that is behind her, also has a symbol of the Vesica Piscis, and it's such a powerful symbol of connection. And I think that if we take a moment and to create sacred space close to water, things will, if not become clear, it will begin to stir up what needs to move. This is really important here, because in the 4 of Cups, if we have created a pond, a sanctuary, a place for this element, and it has become stagnant, what Spirit may very well be inviting is that water needs to move. And what is one of the best ways to move water is to go close to water, particularly salt water. It can stir up emotion very, very deeply. Hello, Casey. Welcome. So there's something really potent in these 2 cards from Gaian and Emerging from Darkness. And then let's go to the Herb Crafter Tarot here. There's no humans for the most part. There's a few hands in this deck. But the invitation here is to this beautiful purple chair to be refreshed with a glass of mint-infused water, to be open to the cleansing that it provides. And one thing I learned I learned so much from the little guidebook that comes with the Herb Crafter Tarot, but I didn't know mint could be used as a border plant, and it can be trained to grow as the border in a garden, in a sacred space. And I know that I have contained it within pots and things like that. But how beautiful would that be if you were able to create a hedge of mint, and what a powerful sacred space that would be. But there's something here about mint and water and cleansing perhaps things becoming too overwhelming. And that is where the Waitsmith card goes, is that things are so overwhelming. Sometimes you will see a handout, it's like, stop. I can't take one more sound, one more piece of advice. I can't hear one more thing. I'm ready to explode or implode. So leave me alone. I need space. Now, this is one possible interpretation. What I do need to do here is to very slowly take the plug out of the dike and let the water begin to flow and reestablish this cleansing. Reestablish this cleansing. I have forgotten to let it flow. Now that might mean some tears. It could mean simply, I don't know what it is, right? You decide for this week there's going to be no Diet Coke and no caffeinated teas, and I'm just going to drink water, and I'm going to take time to infuse my water with mint and other herbs and lovely things from the garden. Ooh, Amelia does have a mint hedge. It's such a sweet thing. I also have a hyssop hedge, which is adorable too. So kind of beautiful, and you can see the cleansing in the Marielle Tarot. And I like the message here that, this shell is a gift, and it's something that's very precious, given from the beach, from the earth, from the ocean, and to treasure it and to revere it, and perhaps to pick it up and to listen to it and to take your time with it. There's no rushing necessary here. We can let things open up and evolve very slowly. This is not about, I said very slowly, taking the plug out of the dike, right? This is not about taking a sledgehammer and breaking down the walls. That is far too aggressive. And so the approach, the invitation here is to be gentle, slow, and delicate with yourself. Far left, this is the Tarot Avatara by Gabby Angus West. It's a Frida Kahlo deck, and here Frida sits underneath a Manzio tree. It goes by different names. These little apples are quite toxic, and when you eat them, you can get blisters on your lips. They burn. Even the leaves of the tree are toxic. I believe that the sap of this tree was used to poison arrows when the conquistadors came into this region. And Frida sits here in self-harm. When we're reading the tarot, I feel sometimes that we tiptoe around some very difficult subjects. And this definitely is one of the possibilities here, is one of self-harm. Now, how can I get to that other than being... Now, I don't think the manzanillo apple will kill you, but it certainly isn't going to do anything good for you. And it hurts. And it hurts. And is it any different from cutting or drinking excessively or something else that would cause self-harm? Not really. Because the intention or the statement here is, I don't care about myself. I'm going to sit here and just do this. And it's almost like I'm not paying attention. I'm not paying attention to how drunk I'm getting or how much damage I am doing to myself. And so the toxicity begins to build and build and build. And like I said, we may need someone else to come along. I didn't say this, but we may need someone else to come along and slowly begin to take out the plug so that the emotions can rise. Now, whether it is a manzanillo apple or opening the second bottle of wine, we are covering up and we don't want to feel. Hence this gesture, right? Leave me alone. I don't want to feel. I don't want to feel. I don't want to know the foundation, the root of this emotion. I don't want to know the root of this emotion because it is just too difficult and I am extremely uncomfortable here. Sometimes when you get a difficult card, and this card is so closely connected to the Seven of Cups. And if you are studying the tarot, which I encourage you all to do, even if you're just reading for yourself and you have no intention of reading for others, it can awaken so much in you and your connection with the cards. If you have 2 decks, if you have 3 decks, and you get stuck on a particular card, pull out that same card from a different deck and see if you can get new insights into it. Go back to what the number represents. Find a bunch of words that describe the element and see where you can go with this. Now, if you take this to a whole other level and you start to build in decanic and zodiacal associations, this is a Cancer card. Cancer, early summer. This is water element. This is connected to the energy of the Chariot. And these cards of 2, 3, and 4 of Cups can really stir the emotions and play with the emotions. They can also heal. And if you connect Cancer to mother wounds, old childhood trauma, then you also have a layer through which you can see this card. That this cleansing, that the root of this emotional discomfort may be signaling a time to heal this childhood trauma. It is the foundation of my emotional discomfort. You may not have an understanding of zodiacal correspondences, but you can come at this through other ways as well too. In the Lily Black Tarot, this is kind of potent here, that we see a reflection. There's a reflection of the spilt cup. There's a reflection of the moon cup. There is the energy of the moon, right? The moon cycles really quickly, 2.5 days in each sign. It's a symbol of change. This too shall pass. Recognize the empty cup, recognize the full cup for what it is. Both of these want to be seen and to be felt. It's a time to feel. It's a time to feel deeply. When I was preparing for this series and going through every single deck in my tarot library, looking for cards to share, and I saw this card from the Real Sky Astrology deck by Julie Kuchia Watts. I was just moved by this card. And it looks a little bit like an Eight of Pentacles, but there is a deep emotional connection here. Feel, right? So feel, sometimes if we touch, if we use our hands are connected to our heart. They are the karmandriya of the heart, the skin. We can tap into our emotional body. And I love that this card invites action as a way to find connection to emotion. We don't necessarily have to sit in meditation to get there. There are different ways we can get there. Sure, we can sit under a manzanillo tree and poison ourselves and cause blisters and all kinds of pain. That's another way to get to the same place. But what are we trying to do here? What is this Four of Cups? It's inviting you to open the floodgates, to connect to your receptivity. I have lots of things I could share here. Joanna Powell-Colbert suggests that this is also a time to build a foundation of emotional stability with a gratitude practice. Gratitude practices connect to the heart. It's a way of opening up the heart space. Marie White in the Landscapes of the Abyss says that this shell is a gift from the ocean of your subconscious, not to be taken lightly or repressed. This card here. But to be given reverence and just consideration. So why has this shell shown up at this time? Take the gift. Think about a Waite-Smith deck where a cup is being offered. Take the cup. It is okay. It's time to receive and to listen. And in this way, I can see connections to the Five of Pentacles here as well, too. The tarot is a mandala. It's a mandala of connections. And if you just stick with Little White Book, you're not going to get to this kind of level, depth, and profoundness in your readings. Like I said, even if you're just doing it for yourself. So, thank you for listening. I'm going to choose my top 5 for today. Wow. All right, Gaian Tarot is one. And like I said, really moved by this Real Sky Astrology card, Marielle Tarot. And then let me choose 2 others. I don't know, this whole deck, I'm doing a deep dive with it right now. I'm something like 20 videos into it. There's a lot of self-harm in this deck. And it's a wonderful journey for working with Swadhisthana chakra pain. Emotional pain. So maybe I will leave that there. Why don't we go with this? I mean, this is not an easy exercise, and it also is a journey for me in sharing and opening up about connections in cards. And it can be a really powerful, like I said, exercise to do if you do a reading and you're like, what is this card about? This method can really help as well to deepen your understanding of a reading. So, top 5 Four of Cups cards, left to right. Tarot Avatara by Gabby Angus West. Marielle Tarot by Marie White. Real Sky Astrology by Julie Kuchia-Watts. Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. And Herbcrafter Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert and Letitia Guthrie. All right. Yes, I agree with you, Amelia. Thank you for being here today and for the positive comments about this series. It's going to be a long one. We're not even through the second suit. And once I go back to school, I work in the public school system, things will slow down a little bit. So I'll try to get a few more in before that all starts. Have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.